everybody, welcome to Wild Boy Movies, the place to talk movies. And today, we're gonna be reviewing Fantastic Four, the 2005 adaptation of Marvel's First Family. Right now I'm gonna have some information up on screen for you to read, like director, runtime, and PAA rating. All of that will be up on screen for you to read right now. But be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment down below your thoughts on Fantastic Four. But without further ado, let's get right into the pros. Alright, starting off, this movie, the 2005 Fantastic Four, is miles better than Fantastic, which I already have a review for that movie up on my YouTube channel, so if you haven't already, go ahead and check out that review for that Fantastic Four. But here, this movie is just 100 times better than that Fantastic movie in just so many ways. And I'm not saying that this movie is bad. I actually wound up really enjoying this movie and found it to be quite an enjoyable movie, and don't understand why it has such a low Rotten Tomatoes score. Like, I don't think it deserves a 27% at all. I mean, for starters, this cast is just such an enjoyable cast. You got Ian Grufford as Mr. Fantastic, Michael Chiklis as Ben Grimm the Thing, Jessica Alba as Sue Storm, Invisible Woman, Chris Evans, who you might know as Captain America, as Johnny Storm, Human Torch, and Julian Macaron, which, by the way, rest in peace to that actor, as Victor Von Doom, Doctor Doom. And all of these actors in here do a great job with their roles respectively. Like, I really enjoyed Chris Evans' take on Johnny Storm in this movie, and it made me really like Johnny Storm in Deadpool and Wolverine a lot more, because it's that same Johnny Storm in Deadpool and Wolverine from this Fantastic Four movie. And then speaking of Julian McMahon as Victor Von Doom, I really liked his portrayal of Doctor Doom in this movie. In fact, I'm just gonna say he's a way better Doctor Doom than what we got in the Fantastic movie from 2015. And Robert Downey Jr., who will play Doctor Doom in Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, has some competition, because I think this actor did a great job of portraying Victor Von Doom. And even though we don't see much of Doctor Doom in this iconic costume, which, hey, side note, this toy 20 years later still works surprisingly, I still thought he was still a great and menacing villain in this movie, on him wanting to take out the members of the Fantastic Four one by one, as we see towards the end of the movie when he's freezing Mr. Fantastic, sending a missile towards Johnny Storm, and depowering the Thing. That is just some great Doctor Doom in here, and I really like this actor's portrayal of Victor Von Doom, and it's so far my favorite live-action Doctor Doom that we've gotten. I also thought some of the jokes in this movie were really well and effective, and a lot of that comes from Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, because that is just entirely Johnny Storm's personality, and I really liked a lot of the jokes that Johnny Storm went ahead and wrote out in this movie. And along with the jokes in this movie, I thought they handled some of the more serious moments in this movie, particularly going with the character of Ben Grimm the Thing, where once he becomes like the Thing, his fiance just abandons him. I thought they handled that very well in this movie, and it was like a good balance of humor and serious moments in this movie of the Fantastic Four. And then speaking of the Thing, I really like the practical effect look that they went ahead and did for the Thing. I think it's unique in its own way, because this is a practical suit that Michael Chiklis had to wear for the character of the Thing, and I think it comes off really good in the movie. Like, that practical effect look is just also really good, and I also like how they went ahead and had the Thing get his iconic catchphrase, "It's clobbering time," from a little Thing toy that Johnny Storm shows the Thing, And that's just a miles better version of how the Thing got his iconic catchphrase from when he got it from his abusive brother in Fan 4 Stick. But yeah, I really like the stuff involving the Thing in this movie, from how he got his catchphrase, his design, and the serious moments that they had with the Thing in this movie. I also like how they were able to handle the relationship between Sue Storm and Reed Richards in this movie, because you think that Sue Storm and Dr. Doom in here are in a relationship, but we find out that no, Sue Storm doesn't really think of Dr. Doom the same way that she feels towards Reed Richards, and I thought that was something that they handled pretty well in this movie. And I also like the action sequences that we got in this movie, and also the final battle that we got between the Fantastic Four and Dr. Doom. And I thought it was a pretty creative way in order to defeat Dr. Doom, like heating him up through like a supernova temperature, and then having to super cool Dr. Doom down. I thought that was a pretty unique way to defeat Dr. Doom in here. And also, I really like how the Fantastic Four in here, after they save like some people on like the Brooklyn Bridge, immediately became celebrities and became the Fantastic Four and were looked as heroes. And I do really like that in this movie. It's a much better way than what we got in Fan 4 Stick, where they were weapons for the military. I know I keep comparing this movie to Fan 4 Stick, but this movie is just miles better than that movie that we got in 2015. But honestly, at the end of the day, I really ended up enjoying this Fantastic Four movie, and this is definitely just a much better version of the Fantastic Four than what we got in 2015. And this was just such an enjoyable movie, but it could have been great. So let's get into the cons I have with Fantastic Four. Alright, so starting off, the VFX in here. Now, I'm not saying the VFX in here are terrible. In fact, there are some VFX moments in here that look pretty good and still hold up to this day. But some of the VFX in here are kind of just like wonky. Mainly towards like Reed Richards, where he morphed his face in like one scene. And I know there was a deleted scene from this movie where Reed Richards morphed his face into Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. Like, some of that kind of just like, yeah, I don't really know. But other than that, the VFX in here still hold up pretty well. But there was just some VFX moments, like what I just mentioned, that kind of didn't really hold up very well in modern day in 2025, at least in my opinion. But really, I couldn't really think of any more cons for this movie. It's just a fun and enjoyable movie that you could just put on and just have fun. It's nowhere as good as some of the other Marvel movies that we would later get in movies like Infinity War, Civil War, just the top tier Marvel movies. This is where one of those movies is just fun and enjoyable to watch. That's how I feel towards this version of the Fantastic Four. And if you haven't checked this movie out, I say you go ahead and give this movie a shot, because you might end up enjoying this movie as much as I did. So for my scorecard, I'm gonna give Fantastic Four 3.5 stars, with the score out of 10 being 7.5 out of 10, with the percentage being 75%, with a grade of C, with my final verdict being a fun and enjoyable superhero movie. But that was my review of 2005's Fantastic Four. I want to hear from you guys. What are you guys' thoughts on this movie? Go ahead and leave your thoughts down in the comments section. And while you're at it, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video. And have a great day.